This doesn't look too familiar here. I thought I was going to a gardening convention, but this seems to be a science slam instead. But no problem, gardening and doing data science are not that different. You can even see a little tree logo in our data science, NFDI for data science logo. Okay, so when I say data science and gardening are not that different from each other, maybe I should first introduce what we mean with data science. And there are several ways to do this. I could read you the Wikipedia article about data science, or I could tell you that data science works at the intersection of computer science, math and statistics, and domain knowledge. But you will be bored. I think this is a boring explanation for data science, and I rather want to say data science is a playground. And this can really easily be seen if we look into where data science is in our everyday lives. And basically, you will find data science and artificial intelligence applications everywhere. So from medical diagnosis, where data, of course, provides a basis for diagnosing you, over the census that some of you might have had to fill out this year, over marketing to social media, self-driving cars. Basically, everywhere you look, you will find something related to data science and AI. Sometimes even if you don't know it. So you could say that from saving your lives up to suggesting the next cat video for you to watch, everything is based on data science. So the possibilities really seem rather endless here. There seem to be no limits for what data science and AI can do. And everyone at the moment is currently really excited for data science. So in German, we have this term called Spielwiese, which is like a playground that is also a garden, kind of. And you could say that data science is such a Spielwiese, so such a garden playground. And there are already two terms in it, the playing and the gardening. And of course, everyone loves to discuss the playground aspect of data science, but the gardening aspect, that's tedious. A lot of people don't want to discuss that. But let's make it ourselves easy. The gardening aspect can be explained really simply. So, how to grow a tree? You've gotten a piece of soil, and now you have the plan to build a beautiful garden, so you need to plant many trees. And with what do you start there? At first, of course, you would need to have some seeds. So you would go around and collect some seeds for different plants that you might like. You might throw away other seeds that you don't like, but at some point you have to collect those seeds. And in a similar way, you have to collect or create data at first. After you collected the data, you can start processing it. So plant the seed into the soil, put it into sunlight, and let it grow into a fully grown tree. Maybe build a treehouse in it for playing. Okay, if that's done, you might want to analyze the data. So look at your garden, look how beautiful it is, look if there's some wildlife that got attracted to your garden, maybe some little bugs crawling on the leaf. And in a similar way, you of course want to analyze your data. You want to do something with it, read a new hypothesis out of it, find some clues in your data, you want to analyze it. And after that, ideally, you don't just let your whole project die, but you try to preserve it. So maybe water the tree a little and do whatever necessary, and in the same way also, of course, preserve your data somehow. Okay, after that, you would also want to earn the fruit and access the data again, maybe, steal an apple from your tree. And after accessing it again, you might also want to reuse it. For example, take the apple seeds out of this fruit here, and then go and plant another tree and start the cycle from the beginning. So the data life cycle is just really similar to the cycle that you have when you are growing a garden. And this sounds rather easy, this is nice, but unfortunately, there are some things that just can go wrong. And even if you have the best intentions for all of this, it's unfortunately pretty easy to end up with a rotten garden where the trees just don't grow, where the trees die, where you accidentally have poisonous food and nobody wants to play in your playground garden anymore and your Spielwiese is dying. So what can happen? For example, if you have a garden that cannot be reproduced. Maybe somebody sees your garden and says, nice garden, I want to have the same thing, or I even want to improve it. What do? They try to copy it, and most of the times, honestly, it just fails. This is the same that we also have in data science. For example, a study on the top-tier publications for neural recommenders only find that 7 of 18 are reproducible. So out of 18 gardens, only 7 can be copied. And even worse it is when you want to improve the garden. So only one garden that was created in these studies was better than the state of the art. So only one garden really made an improvement there. That doesn't sound too good. That's of course something we want to change. Another problem, and this is where really rotten and poisonous trees sometimes come into your garden, are biases and discriminations that you get by collecting the wrong data that you have in algorithms. So, and for that, I brought you a kind of a research article here and a news article. For example, here in this research article, they found that there is racial bias in an algorithm that predicts health risks, which means that this algorithm predicted health risks of black people differently, which of course is more than just an inconvenience. It could lead to people dying. And this is of course not what we want to create. This is not the garden we want, where people die because we did something wrong with the data. Another example is from a news article from 2018, where Amazon had to kill one of their AI services for weeding out applications because they found that it only supported applications by men and weeded out all the applications by women. And this is not something that was, or maybe I'm a bit naive here and trust humanity too much, but I don't think the people who developed these algorithms wanted to do that. I don't think they wanted to endanger black people, and I don't think they wanted to get rid of women in their applications. But this is something that just happens because they chose biased data. As this article here said, this is because Amazon's computer models were trained to that application by observing patterns in resumes submitted to the company over a 10-year period. And as most of these applications were done by men, of course, this model was mostly trained for male applications. This is why it sorted out female applications then. Okay, so this is not good. No, we don't like that in our garden. So the question is, how can we do better? And for step 1, I have a really, really secret tip here. It might come shocking to some, but here it is, step 1. Maybe don't fire the people who are explicitly there to do that job. Maybe if you have an ethical AI team, Mr. Musk, looking at you, don't fire them. Because, well, if you explicitly say you don't want to do ethical AI, then you might end up with a really rotten and poisonous garden where only fascists want to play. This is not what we want. So instead, if you have an ethical AI team, keep it, or maybe hire even someone for that team. Also try to diversify your team in general. But we are not looking at the kind of personal point of view here. Not every one of you is in a position where they can do challenges to the team, where they can hire and fire people. We want to look at those things that we can also do on a lower level. And there's one thing that almost everyone can do, and this is get help for your ethical and legal aspects in AI and data science. For example, provide training measures to your employees, to your team, or if you have a concrete question, a specific question for ethical or legal challenges in your research, also try to ask those questions and get advice. And this is something we also offer by NFDI for data science. So this is a really first step what you can do. So what else can you do? And this is again more looking into your data and how you plant your garden. In every phases of this data life cycle, so in every phase of growing a tree, think about how to make it fair. So think about having it findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable, like Gollum told us before. So try to make it really, really fair. Think about fairness in every step of the data cycle. Because if you have a transparent data set, then it makes it easier for other people to maybe find issues with this data set, maybe to say, okay, but this data set is biased, or there's a problem in this algorithm or something. So by making your research data fair, you don't only make it easier for other scientists to come and visit your garden and maybe copy it or improve it, but you also make it easier to kind of see what's going wrong in your garden. And if you say, oh, but that's a lot of work, a lot of aspects I need to think about, yes, that's absolutely true, but as for a garden, you don't need to do it with your bare hands. You would have tools for that. And NFDI for Data Science is offering these tools. So if you come to our website, you will find a picture that really looks similar to this one here. And you can just click and say, okay, I want to preserve my data, and it will suggest you the correct tools to preserve your data, complying with the FAIR principles. Okay. So what we are doing in NFDI for Data Science is kind of building like a gardening shop. So we are setting up a one-stop shop for everything data science, where you can get support for fair data throughout the whole data lifecycle, where you can get advice on legal and ethical aspects, where we develop infrastructure, where we provide training, and so on. And the good news, you can kind of help designing this one-stop shop and adjust it to your needs. For example, currently we are having interviews regarding the challenges of fair and of ethical and legal aspects in AI and data science. And by joining these interviews and telling us about your research and the challenges that you typically face, you can help us build our one-stop shop here. And with this, I hope you learned a bit more about data science, because now I'm at the end of my talk. So I can just ask you to visit our gardening shop at nfdifordatascience.de, or maybe follow us on Twitter or send us a message. Thank you for your attention.